Mr. Zaqy, Mohamad.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker, for allowing me to speak on this important motion. And I applaud the effort to push this motion in this House. While there are many aspects of this discussion, I would like to focus on two important considerations. Firstly, I need to underscore that constructive public debate or the exercise of freedom of speech must be founded on truth, not falsehoods. Those who advocate strongly for freedom of speech are quick to argue that the market should be left to correct misinformation and disinformation. They point out that the marketplace of ideas and thoughts will certainly eventually lead to the truth emerging. This, while true in the past, may not be necessarily the case in this digital era, where falsehoods are propagated at such speeds and volumes, which makes it difficult for the common man to discern between fact and fiction. In this digital era, algorithms and social media platforms can also be manipulated by motivated parties, local and foreign, private and state players. Measures need to be taken to ensure that while free speech is exercised, facts will prevail. Free speech must be founded on facts and not on falsehoods, especially those that are designed to undermine society. We should not take this lightly. The dangers of how free speech can be abused to cause significant harm to society can be seen from experiences in the UK and Australia. In the UK, online falsehoods were used to distort sentiment in relation to government policies and to breed xenophobia. In 2016, online falsehoods were spread about immigration in the lead-up to the Brexit referendum, which fueled support for Brexit by claiming that the UK will see an influx of 12 million Turks if it remained in the EU. False information was also used to stir up racial tensions in the UK, to smear Muslims as a group, and to turn non-Muslims against Muslims. In the face of numerous occurrences of online falsehoods in the UK government has launched a parliamentary inquiry into fake news. The experiences have shown that if left unchecked, the spread of falsehoods has a serious detrimental effect on society. In Australia, online falsehoods were also used to stir up racial tensions, to smear Muslims as a group, and to stir up xenophobic feelings. In 2015, companies that get products halal certified was targets of a campaign that claimed that halal certification funds terrorism. Conducted largely through the social media and online networks, Australian anti-Islamic groups demanded companies that carry halal certification to drop them. This was part of what were known as rallies to reclaim Australia. There was never any evidence to support the allegation that money from halal certification funded terrorist groups. Just as the UK, the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission has undertaken a formal inquiry into major digital platforms and the impact on media, journalism, and advertising, with the impact of falsehoods as part of this inquiry. The Australian process is somewhat similar to Singapore's proposed select committee process, in that it is formally convened to study a problem and has the powers to obtain evidence and hold hearings. The second consideration is that falsehoods have the ability to radicalize individuals with extremist sentiments. Terrorist groups have long recognized the need to use online media effectively in order to radicalize masses and achieve their sinister aims. In an undated letter to Taliban leader Mullah Omar, quoted in 2014, Al-Qaeda's then leader Osama bin Laden himself observed that 90% of the preparation for war is the effective use of media. Al-Qaeda was long advocating Hazwa Maklumatiyah, or information operations, and Harb Electronia, which is electronic warfare. Bin Laden's successor, Ayman al-Zawahiri, shared his same view. He referred to Jihad of the Bayan, which is the message of declaration, and considered this more important than Jihad of the spear. He praised the Knights of the Media Jihad and the clandestine Mujahideen who were conducting it. Terrorist organizations use Twitter to put out fake news stories. There have been many instances of the mainstream media mistakenly using terrorist-originated tweets as legitimate sources of breaking news. An example of a terrorist organization that has been using falsehoods to push its own agenda is the Islamic State, or ISIS. In 2017, it claimed that Mosul's famed Al-Nuri Mosque was blown up by a US-led coalition airstrike, which in fact, ISIS had destroyed the mosque themselves using explosives. Their goal as jihadists was to blame the West and the Americans. The Iraq military and the US military released counter footage trying to show the truth of the matter. But objective truth has little meaning as the followers of ISIS cannot be swayed by evidence. So even if you put the counter-truth, it is hard to sway the public and how to counter the perceptions, the mistruths have already shaped. So we need to be aware of the consequences when an online space is hijacked or influenced by players with certain motivations or agenda. In our multi-religious and multi-ethnic Singapore, which has enjoyed decades of stability and harmony, such falsehoods should have no place as someone with the intention to stir up emotions, and they can do it easily using religion. What measures do we need the government to look into? And these are some I hope the Select Committee can consider. Some countries, such as Germany, have laws to take down unlawful content and systemic breaches that can result in fines of 50 million euros. The EU, UK, and France are considering similar takedown laws. New Zealand takes a different approach under the Harmful Digital Communications Act that allows the court to order a right to reply or to correct false statements concerning individuals. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I support the process of appointing the Select Committee given the sensitivities of the topic and the pervasive use of the online platform by many Singaporeans. Given our small size and highly connected population, we are at risk of foreign influence and intervention. The Select Committee is therefore a good platform to get views from many Singaporeans and other stakeholders to hear their views, challenges, and for us to learn the best way to take this forward for the greater good of Singapore and fellow citizens. However, the government must assure Singaporeans that this is not an effort to silence critics and that the citizens must not lose that freedom to critique, feedback, and put points of views across as long as they are based on truth and not deliberately pushing falsehoods. So one of the key priorities, I feel, of the Select Committee is to gain consensus among Singaporeans on how we define online falsehoods. And perhaps it may be time to refine and update our OB markers for the future. Mr. Deputy Speaker, I support the motion. Please allow me to continue my speech in Malay. Langkah mengadakan satu proses parlimen dalam usaha meneliti dan mendapatkan maklum balas mengenai isu berita palsu yang sengaja disebarkan menerusi dalam talian tepat pada masanya. Ini kerana kita telah lama berdepan dengan isu pelbagai berita dan maklumat untuk pelbagai bentuk sumber, termasuk dari luar. Yang membimbangkan, sebahagian berita atau maklumat tersebut tidak memaparkan maklumat yang penuh atau di luar konteks. Penyebarannya secara meluas tentunya boleh membahayakan. Satu lagi adalah maklumat atau berita yang disebarkan dengan agenda yang tertentu. Misalnya, menjelang tahun baru ini, tersebar satu video ISIS yang menampilkan anggota militan yang dikatakan asal daripada Singapura yang mengajak militan ISIS seluruh dunia supaya meningkatkan usaha mencederakan musuh. Muiz dan para pemimpin Badan Melayu Singapura dengan segera mengutuk penyebaran video itu. Saya percaya ini bukan kali terakhir penyebaran video dan maklumat seperti ini boleh berlaku. Ia merupakan satu usaha berterusan dalam mengekang penyebaran berita palsu, di samping usaha mendidik dan mengingati masyarakat kita tentang bahaya penularan berita dan maklumat sedemikian. Misalnya, kumpulan pengganas telah sekian lama mengenal pasti keperluan menggunakan media online secara berkesan untuk menyebarkan fahaman radikal mereka di samping merekrut anggota demi memenuhi agenda mereka. Saya ingin menyebut beberapa contoh. Dalam satu surat tidak bertarikh kepada pemimpin Taliban Mullah Umar yang dilaporkan pada tahun 2014, pemimpin Al-Qaeda ketika itu, Osama bin Laden, sendiri memperhatikan bahawa 90% persiapan bagi peperangan adalah menerusi penggunaan media. Al-Qaeda sudah kesekian lama menggalak apa yang disebut Hazwa Maklumatiyah atau operasi maklumat dan hub elektronia atau peperangan elektronik. Kumpulan-kumpulan pengganas juga menggunakan Twitter untuk menyebarkan berita palsu. Malah terdapat beberapa media aliran utama menggunakan maklumat Twitter itu sebagai sumber berita yang sah untuk dijadikan bahan berita terkini. Satu contoh adalah mengenai sebuah pertubuhan pengganas menggunakan media dalam talian untuk menyebarkan maklumat palsu untuk memperjuangkan agenda mereka. Pada tahun lalu, ISIS mendakwa Masjid Al-Nuri Mosul dibinasakan oleh serangan udara oleh sekutu yang dipimpin Amerika Syarikat. Namun sebenarnya ISIS sendiri yang telah memusnahkan masjid itu. Oleh itu kita perlu sentiasa berhati-hati akan pada dan kesannya apabila wadah online kita dipergunakan dan dipengaruhi pihak-pihak tertentu dengan agenda atau motif masing-masing. Dalam konteks Singapura, sebagai sebuah negara kecil yang berbilang budaya, kaum dan agama, kita tidak mampu menjadi mangsa kepada pengaruh atau ancaman sedemikian, walaupun sekecil mana. Ini lebih-lebih lagi dalam isu-isu melibatkan agama dan kaum yang sensitif. Sebahagian daripada penularan isu-isu sensitif yang boleh membangkitkan emosi dan memecah belahkan masyarakat kita adalah di luar kawalan kita kerana berpunca dari sumber-sumber luar. Sesetengah pihak akan mengambil kesempatan meningkatkan Islamofobia dan pastinya ini akan memberi kesan dari segi hubungan dan pandangan golongan bukan Islam terhadap masyarakat Islam kita. Pengalaman kita di Singapura, dari semasa ke semasa, kita prihatin akan sesetengah maklumat yang disebar dan menular di media sosial yang kurang lengkap atau kurang tepat. Ada dapat berita atau maklumat sedemikian boleh menimbulkan emosi marah atau kurang puas hati. Antara seperti kononnya babi halal yang dijualnya di pasar raya NTUC Fair Price, banyak masa dan sumber diperlukan untuk membetulkan maklumat sedemikian dan memberi keyakinan kepada orang ramai. Dengan kecanggihan teknologi, maklumat terutama menerusi video dan gambar boleh dicipta atau dimodifikasi untuk menyebarkan kabar-kabar angin, maklumat yang tidak tepat dan ia boleh menular dengan cepat. Jadi apakah langkah-langkah yang kita perlukan pemerintah teliti? Beberapa negara seperti Jerman telah mengenalkan undang-undang untuk menutup wadah yang memaparkan kandungan yang melanggar undang-undang dan kesalahan itu boleh membawa denda sehingga 50 juta euro. Kesatuan Eropah, UK dan Perancis sedang menimbangkan undang-undang serupa. New Zealand pula mengambil pendekatan di bawah undang-undang yang membolehkan mahkamah memerintah hak menjawab untuk membetulkan kenyataan palsu berkaitan individu. Jelas sekali, menangani berita palsu adalah satu isu yang serius. Kita harus memberi fokus bagaimana Singapura dapat membendungnya. Pada masa yang sama, sebarang peraturan dan perundangan diharap pula tidak membataskan manfaat besar wadah online dan teknologi media sosial yang banyak memberi sumbangan dari segi penyebaran maklumat dan komunikasi. Demi mencapai huraian yang memanfaatkan semua golongan dan melindungi kita daripada berita palsu, kita perlu menyokong proses jawatan kuasa pemilihan dan menghargai usaha pemerintah untuk mengambil pendekatan musyawarah dalam mengatasi isu sensitif ini. Dalam hal ini, saya juga berharap masyarakat Melayu Islam juga memberi sumbangan dan memainkan peranan, baik pemimpin masyarakat dan agama maupun usahawan online serta individu biasa agar anda semua memberi saranan dan buah fikiran tentang cara-cara mengatasi masalah berita palsu. Terima kasih, Deputy Speaker.